Running the floor. Oh! A monster slam by Scottie Barnes!
When the Raptors were in Tampa, we all wondered, are they really this bad? Well, we're getting our answer now. They're back in Toronto, and they're back to winning ways with a 5-game win streak. Javon, the Raptors are back in Toronto. They're winning. Why not get another team winning in Toronto? Like Drake said, let's get a WNBA team here.
Well, I was thinking about getting into a bidding war with him over that team, but I'm going to let him have it. No, I think, this would be the perfect place. Big market, and you can see by the success and the support that all of our major professional teams have, this would be the perfect place. And again, you couple that with, basketball being the fastest growing sport globally, this is the perfect place.
Let's focus on the team that is here right now, the Raptors. When you look at the outlook of this team, we all had our expectations coming in, but 9 games in, who has changed the outlook for this season more, Scottie Barnes or OG Anunoby?
You're putting me on the spot early, man. I think, they've both been impactful and both been different in a sense. OG is doing what you need from him. He's being that leader. He's closing out games in the fourth quarter for these guys, and he's been extremely efficient. I think he's reminding me of Kawhi in a sense because he's starting to take advantage of his defense. He's, when he has a small defender on him, he's posting up. He'll close when guys are closing out hard on him. He's getting to his mid-range and then taking open shots. So I think he's great from that aspect. Now you have the young gun there. He's doing a great job of just what he does is far beyond on the court, right? Like the infectious, contagious personality. I think that is so big for a team because it becomes infectious for everybody. Such a cerebral player and far ahead of where we thought he would be. Scoring the basketball, he's leading all rookies in scoring, and that was the biggest question with him coming in. So I think he's always making winning plays, he's always growing, and making his teammates better. That's huge.
And far ahead of where we thought he'd be is the key. I think expectations coming into this season for me was to almost figure out which direction this team should head in. You had this core of Pascal Siakam and Fred VanVleet and OG Anunoby, and you said, okay, should you cater more towards them? Or is there this younger core with Scottie Barnes and Gary Trent Jr.? OG would be part of that mix as well. But the beauty of Scottie Barnes being here already, as opposed to needing a couple of years, is you can marry the two together now. This team is already really, really good.
Yeah, I think that's huge because, and I think it goes back to Scottie's IQ, and that's so big. He's able to jump in and impact the game immediately. Again, you didn't know coming into this if he was going to start, if he was going to come off the bench. But why he's so impactful, why he's so huge is because he wants to facilitate the basketball. And we've heard Nick Nurse say time and time again, hey, he's playing great, but we want him to be a bit more aggressive because he has all those abilities. He's scoring the basketball at a higher rate, really efficient, almost at a point per possession when he has the basketball in his hands. And I think that's big for a rookie coming in, right? That is coupled and married perfectly with the veterans that you do have on this team because, again, those guys are also unselfish and they want to get guys involved. They want to bring their young guys along. And Fred and Pascal Fred, Pascal, and OG have all said this. So that's he's come in, he's fit amazingly, and so has Banton.
Exactly. There isn't just one rookie to talk about on this team. I mean, in terms of who's been the bigger surprise or what's been the bigger surprise, is it Delano Banton emerging as the backup point guard for the Raptors or Gary Trent Jr.'s defense?
Without a question, it's Delano. I think you look back to this draft, and he wasn't on anybody's draft board. And then even if you're looking at how he performed in Summer League, there was still some question marks as to who he was and the type of player he would be in this league. Now, if you're Delano, I think you come out here and he's doing the exact same thing right now. He's another guy, fits the prototype for this team, getting out, facilitating, he's defending, and he's definitely far ahead of where we thought he would have been.
Much love to Rexdale. Gary Trent Jr.'s defense, though, I think coming in, we all knew that he could shoot the ball. We all knew he could score the ball. But the way he's been able to apply ball pressure, we knew, again, that's something that Fred VanVleet could do very well. But now when you have two players in the backcourt that can do that, and think about the players behind them, in OG Anunoby, Pascal Siakam, when he returns, Yuta Watanabe's got to come back as well. That's going to make it so much easier for the players to execute Nick Nurse's schemes. And I think for Gary Trent Jr. to be at the top of the league in deflections and leading the way in that regard, that's something that I don't think anyone saw coming.
Hey, V, when Gary Trent Jr. walked into training camp and he's seen 6'8" across the board, all these guys with 7'2" wingspans, he had no chance but to defend. So I think he bought into that, and again, he's another young guy. That shows so much maturity from him, because you look around the room, he had every reason to make excuses and say, hey, I'm just going to shoot the basketball, and that's how I'm going to earn my way onto the court. But he's went the defensive route, big time.
All these big time performances, players stepping up, it creates a really tough and fun question for Nick Nurse when Pascal Siakam returns. So we're going to ask that question right now. What is your starting five when Pascal is back?
Good problems to have, and the team is winning right now, so that's big as well. But I think I think Gary Trent Jr. is somebody that you can move coming off the bench. He's played great, but I think he can also be that fire, that spark off the bench to be that offensive guy with that unit as well. And I think you're always going to need a big down low, because that's your last line of defense. So again, you're going to have 6'8" across the board, 7'2" 7-foot wingspans, but in the odd occasion that somebody drives by your defense and gets into that lane, you're going to need a big to contest at the rim. So, and that would be my choice. You're going to have, I don't think there's any wrong answers, because again, the team is playing well. Gary Trent's playing well, and he's doing a tremendous job on the defensive end. But I'm going to go with having that second line of defense there.
Well, I'm going to go with Gary, because I think that's how good he's been. And I think Nick Nurse is a big proponent of just having your best five guys out there. And so when I think of the Raptors' best five players, that's Fred VanVleet, Gary Trent Jr., OG Anunoby, Scottie Barnes, and Pascal Siakam. I think that would be an exciting five to watch. Again, when I think about the ball pressure that's being applied between Gary and Fred, and then all those three guys with their length behind them.
My five is still running your five off the court.